And I'm gonna get another piece of my really thick paper and show you another technique. An old table at home and you want to actually tape it to your old table, you could do that, but I would not tape it to your good dining room table, which is what I'm working on here. All right, step one, we all know we are going to put down a whole lot of water, and we're going to do it as quickly as we can. Right, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to work with my red, yellow, and blues this time. Oh, I mean red, orange, and yellows. Gonna lay some big colors down. And then I'm gonna go back with my smaller brush and start to add some dots of color into here. Please remember to rinse your brush out in between colors. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that to you, but sometimes I still do. I'm gonna add some lines with this red. You can see how much brighter that pigment is when we go ahead and add water to that first. I think I may have to add some blues over in here. Ooh, so nice. So this is called bleeding or blending, sometimes people say. Now, before this all dries up, I'm gonna do something that I think is pretty spectacular, and it is with my salt. So this is another technique that you can use, and it is with this salt. So sprinkle a little salt in your hand. Maybe we can sprinkle it from here. You don't want to dump it on there. You want to sprinkle it. Okay. It is best where it's really wet. So I'm going to take this one off here. I'm going to set this one aside so that you can see it in just a second, and I will show you some more places where the salt has worked with some of my other watercolors. Your oil pastels. An oil pastel has oil in it. Oil resists water. These are watercolors. I'm just going to make myself a little design in here. It's pretty abstract. Using some lines, using some shapes. That's pretty. I think repetition color always works well for you. I'm just using lines again. Oil pastels can stain things really badly. So push your sleeves up when you use these. If you drop one of these on the floor, stop what you're doing, pick it up immediately. If this gets smashed into things, it doesn't always come out and it's hard to clean up. So be careful with these. These are an advanced art material. When I lay these out, now I'm going to go back with some color. I'm not actually going to put water on this first this time. And it's nice to use different colors so that you really see these pop through. I think I need more water in my color there. And you should see where these colors are, you gotta have a pretty watery color. Okay, this is opposite of what we were doing before. This time I want this color more watery, and as I go over, you see that these oil pastels are resisting. I didn't even get more pigment that time, I just dipped it in here. And I'm gonna go back up here at the top and add water to this, see if I can get it to come off of those a little bit. And then if you had enough water in there, maybe you're gonna use your salt from your house. Ooh, You could even just use your salt shaker. You could put a little salt on there. This salt is gonna look different than the other salt. So we're gonna set that one aside. Let it dry up. And I have one more technique I wanna show you. And if you have isopropyl alcohol, this is just 99%. This is what you usually buy in the first aid section. You may not have this at home, and I actually tried to find some to stick in your kits, but right now, this is evidently like toilet paper during the quarantine, because I have not, in the last 5 times I've been to the grocery store, been able to find isopropyl alcohol. I'm not sure where it is. I don't think people are using it for their watercolor techniques, but maybe. I usually have a little dropper that I drop on here, but since you won't, I'm just going to show you what happens from here. Step 1, this one needs a lot of water. And my water is starting to look dirty. I'm going to go over to my sink and clean this out. So I've got more new water in here, nice and clean. Okay, I'm going to put it on here pretty thick. I do not recommend pouring water onto your paper. It just kind of never ends up well. Sometimes it goes okay until you just have way too much on there. But we definitely want a lot of water on this paper. Now, I'm going to lay down some colors. Oh, that is gorgeous. I try to follow lines that I see that the paint has naturally made. I'm going to switch to my smaller brush here. If you're a student of mine, you know I love layering colors. I always say there should be 3 layers of colors whenever you're building on something. I might even use my little tiny brush. I'm going to go in with some black. Black is kind of a scary color. It can get out of control really fast, so you got to be careful with it. Okay, I have this going on. I want to take a section, and I want this section right here to be really wet. So I'm going to go back in and put more water in here, because this isopropyl alcohol effect does not work if you do not have a really wet section. So you can see those colors really blending around. All right, are you ready? I think I may have gotten a little too much on there. You really have to just barely dip. Woo! That was way too much. I'm going to try that again. Okay. This is something I'm going to leave this in my video, because sometimes, you guys, things don't go the way you want, and you have to just kind of work with it. That came out of there way too fast. You're going to have to find a way to make that not come out so fast. But I still have a pretty interesting looking piece. Like, this would be a great postcard. I could cut this up. I may come back into this later and paint some more on it. But let's try that again. And I think I'm going to try to clean this brush off, and I'm going to dip the alcohol with this brush. Now, I will tell you, I only use this for art projects. I'm not cleaning off any wounds with my alcohol. So you may want to you definitely need to ask your parents about using this. You may want to pour this in a bowl and use it from a bowl, so you're not contaminating your alcohol. Let's try that one. Let's try that again. Okay. I want more water in there. If you have a bigger paintbrush at home, you're more than welcome to use it. Okay. I'm going to paint faster this time so I still have a lot of water left. I'm going to paint fast. I'm not even in fast motion. Okay. Now I'm going to dip. I'm going to drop this alcohol on here from my paintbrush this time. Okay, now you should see. Okay, there's a good drop. You can see how it makes that paint move. I'll get close up. Oh, you can really see it in the black. The deeper the color, the more you can see it. This is a much better technique. Don't use what I just did before. I'm dipping. Oh, that was so beautiful. Dipping my paintbrush in here. And it'd be better probably if you had a cup or something. So, alcohol is a pretty fun thing to play around. It's best if it's really wet and you have a lot of pigment on your paper. Let me show you. That's what is happening in this one in the center. That is alcohol effect. So those are very fun. When you are working with these and they are dry, you can actually come back and you can trace around things. So if you found your skinny Sharpie or a thick Sharpie, you can come back, and when you've let these completely dry, if you don't let them completely dry, if you use a Sharpie on wet things, it ruins it. You can go back and start to outline colors, and sometimes this makes super cool effects. So I'm going to show you one that I finished up over here. This is one that I went back and added outlining to. You can see the difference between one that looks like this and one that has outlined. It has a different effect. I've shown you a lot of different techniques today. You have seen how to use thick washes on your watercolor. You've seen how to prepare your paint so it has a nice dark, deep pigment to it. You have dripped and seen how to bleed colors together. I have shown you what you may not want to do, which is using those opposite colors on the color wheel. Those are called complementary colors. They look good next to each other, but when they blend, they turn brown. I have showed you how to use different salts and alcohol if you have that. You may not have that at home. Also, coming back after they've dried, and you can add ink and wash to them. You could use regular Crayola markers with colors. I would love to see you posting or sending me some of these pictures. You may post them on my Facebook, Jack's Art Studio, and my name's weird, J-A-Q-U-E-S, pronounced Jack's. You can give me in comments below. You can post them and tag me in it at Jack's Art Studio. Any way you would like to. I would love to see your work. Let me show you our final project here. This one is drying up. It's got some nice darks. That's the first one we worked on. This is the one with the salt. This needs to stay there overnight. The wetter this is, the more the salt technique's going to show up. But you don't want to wipe it off until it's totally dry the next day. I showed you how, I also showed you how to use oil pastels and have an oil pastel resist. This one also has salt on it. Have fun with this. You are going to learn on your own. You should have hours of entertainment. If you run out of my watercolor paper, have your parents, you can go to Amazon and they will deliver it to your house. It's called watercolor paper. I suggest paper that's at least 120 pounds thick. If you have any questions, please ask me below. Have fun, make mistakes. Failure is just another way of becoming creative. Go out there and create. Be nice.